Hello, happy Wednesday to you. How are you?
Holler if you hear me.
Shoney's. Take me to Shoney's, damn it. Have you ever eaten at a Shoney's?
I think so, but I think it was like when I was really young and my parents took me. I have never willingly gone to a Shoney's.
Nobody has ever willingly I don't think anybody's ever walked into a Shoney's. I think that they've just manifested within it. Shoney's is a wild place. I've been to it a handful of times. Definitely not my favorite flavor of breakfast, but it got the job done.
Have you been to a Perkins?
Of course. Perkins, Bob Evans, Cracker Barrel, Shoney's.
I've only been to a Bob Evans one time.
Bob Evans isn't bad. They've got a better lunch spread than a breakfast spread. If I'm getting, I think Uncle Herschel still wins. I'm a sucker for Cracker Barrel.
Not if they take him off the fucking logo.
Woke. Somebody woke up at a Shoney's.
I fucking hate Cracker Barrel. I'm pretty sure I've told this story on the podcast before, but as a kid, I had a streak of like 4 or 5 times going to Cracker Barrel and spilling milk. Like I would order a milk and then it would just get knocked over.
When I go to Cracker Barrel, but that's just
but
me.
Milk got spilled, and then it became like a running joke. And then one time I didn't even order milk, and yet somehow still spilled it because I think somebody else ordered it, and it happened. And I was just like, you know what? Fuck this. I hate Cracker Barrel. I've gone back a scant few times, never by choice. And it's fine.
For those of you listening,
it's not my favorite, and I tend to hate it.
10 years ago,
but I don't think I hate anything more than a Ruby Tuesdays, though. That might be the worst.
Fuck Ruby Tuesdays. 10 years ago, we recorded our first Game of the Year episode at a CC's Pizzeria. In honor of that, I think this year we should record our Game of the Year at a Cracker Barrel, and just have nothing but clanking dishes in the background.
Well, just make sure that we don't order any milk and we don't put it next to the laptop when we do it.
Chase, today is the 11th of March, which is also a national holiday. This is 3/11 Day, so I hope you are getting down.
It's crazy how we have all these days together, right? Because we live in St. Louis, so we're about to have Pi Day 314, which is big because that's also the St. Louis area code. So we do Pi Day big here, which is just you order a pizza. Everybody does it,
or pie,
or a pie, but mostly a pizza.
Yeah.
But we just had Mario Day yesterday. Mar 10, and then you go right from Mario Day into 3/11 Day. It's like it's Christmas every day. This month.
I celebrated Mario Day by pre-ordering the Luigi Mario Kart Lego set.
Wow.
I don't know if you got a chance to look at it. It's pretty slick, and that's who I play as when I play Mario Kart. So I obviously wanted to get Luigi. And I've got a spot where I'm going to mount 2 shelves up here above my closet and have them kind of facing with the spiny shell between them. So that'll be fun. Yeah. But this is a What You've Been Playing episode tonight, which means we're going to tell you about the things we've been playing. We've been busy. We had a week off. We had a preview episode. We had a deep dive. So we've not really been able to get into this for a bit.
And I'm sure Chase has been playing a billion video games.
Chase has been playing games. Bobby's been playing a lot of games.
I've been playing game.
You game, I game.
Singular.
I dabble. But you know what? That's not a bad thing. You're playing a big ass game, right?
That's true. I haven't gotten super far into it, but I have been playing a video game.
That's cool. Well, Chase, we're going to get through a few things. So like for those of you who are watching, for those of you who are listening, you should watch it live sometime. It's much better. You get to see us. There's a couple things that we're going to get. We're going to check in on Cairn, which is just a status update for me on that. There's a new game that came out called Esoteric Ebb. I'll be talking about that. You've been playing, due to the wheel, Skies of Arcadia. And then you and I played Pokemon Pokopia on Monday. So that's going to be the lineup for the show tonight. We got a lot to talk about. But last Friday, after months, literally months, because I ordered it in late January, I think, or mid to late January, my AYN Thor finally got here. And
is that how you pronounce it? AYN?
Yep, AYN.
Okay.
So
I didn't know if it was just you spell out AYN or whatever.
People do both,
say it every different way.
But AYN is how people are calling it on a lot of. I've been watching a lot of videos, and it's called that in almost all the videos that I've been deep diving into. They make a bunch of other hardware, but the Thor is the one that just came out late last year. It's the dual screen. It's basically a 3DS Android emulator. So we're gonna get into that, but I know that you are doing a bunch of other things these days. One of those things that you've retired, question mark, is what you used to do when I knew you first, which is you were the gamer on the go. I still lovingly call you that from time to time here, even though I probably play more games on the go than you do. The table turns.
I would say most of my gaming, due to various gotchas that I should probably stop playing, I would say most of my gaming is actually on the go these days.
Well, I'm glad you get to hold your mantle up.
Yeah.
I had a pretty big gap in my resume with the DS. I did own the first Nintendo DS briefly, but you've put together a couple lists. I now have a capable device. I have been loading things onto it. And before I kind of talk about the hardware with you, I'd love to know, what are some games that you think I should be playing that would take advantage of the dual screen on this device?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I did pull up my list that I made. Our good friend Jiggy-san and I made a couple of episodes of Gamers on the Go back in the day about our top favorite DS games and 3DS
can I
games.
link to those in the show notes anywhere? Can I link out to
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I'll get you the links to those
Okay.
podcasts. Those are out there.
Cool.
But I still have the list because I did make the physical list on the Gamers on the Go page as well. So I have my top 25 DS and 3DS games, separate lists. So 50 total games. I'm not going to run down 50 games for you, but what do you want to start with? 3DS or DS?
Dealer's choice. You pick.
All right. Well, my top 5 DS games of all time, and I think this probably still holds, is number 1 is Advance Wars Dual Strike, which I still think is the best Advance Wars game they've made.
I have that. I do have that one downloaded.
It's a good one. It's a good one. We've talked about this a number of times recently because of Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, but Dragon Quest IX, Sentinels of the Starry Skies, is my favorite Dragon Quest game. That's one that you certainly could play on your Thor.
Yeah.
But I still kind of want to hold out hope that they might remake that one next. If they do, it's probably going to take them a while though. So I don't fault you for saying I should go play this awesome video game that Chase loves.
Is that the one where he has the red bandana on? Like yellow tunic and red bandana? Is that version of the hero?
No, that's 8.
That's 8. Okay, cool.
Yeah. 3, I have Pokemon Heart Gold Soul Silver. You've played that already. Enjoyed that game quite a bit. And number 4 is Monster Tale. Oh God, I do remember Monster Tale. What a video game!
I think I saw something on that.
That's one that was made by the developer of Henry Hatsworth, which is a game, another game that not a lot of people know. But Monster Tale came out really late in the DS life cycle. I think the 3DS was already out by then. And it's really cool. It's like a Metroidvania kind of game, but it's got like a little pet guy that shows up on the bottom screen, and you're feeding different things to the pet, and you can change the monster pet guy into different forms to get different abilities and help you on the top screen part. It's also just like a really fun Metroidvania style game to juggle dudes and do a lot of good combat stuff. I think that's a really cool game that nobody checked out.
2011, I think, is when that came out.
Yeah. And then my number 5 is a Naruto game. You don't have to play that.
Thank you.
But Naruto Path of the Ninja 2 was a cool game. Although I wonder how that would play on a Thor, because that's a game where you use the stylus and you really scratch the shit out of your DS touchscreen.
I got some stuff to show you on that actually, because I've been I've played a minimal amount of that Kid Icarus Rising game where you got to do a lot of that too. So yeah, I'll talk about that in a minute when I show the hardware off a little bit.
Yeah, a couple other ones here. Just looking through the list. I mean, I'm a Golden Sun guy, so Golden Sun Dark Dawn. But you haven't played the other Golden Suns on GBA, right?
Nope.
You should absolutely play those first.
I have them. I just haven't played them.
Yeah, and those are way better than the DS game. The DS game's fine, but those GBA ones are the better ones. Picross 3D, that might be something you show your wife once and you'll never get your Thor back again.
Well, I showed her that I had all the Animal Crossing games on it, and she's been like, she's been looking at this thing a few times. I might get her the like entry point one. I'm really considering. Yeah.
I really wonder how she would feel going back from New Horizons, because there's a lot less to do in those previous Animal Crossing games.
I think she's very happy playing Pokemon right now. She seems to have fallen pretty hard for it.
Meteos.
I remember you talking
I think
about
Meteos is what Jiggy and I agreed upon as the top DS game when we combined our list together. Meteos is awesome. Meteos is just one of the coolest video games of all time.
Is that with an I or an O or an E? I'm sorry.
Meteos.
Looking at that now.
Like a meteor.
Okay. This is like a puzzle game?
Yeah, it's kind of like a Tetris game, but the idea is that you're lining things up and turning them into rockets, and then you're shooting them up to the top screen. It's so good. It's so cool.
Hell yeah.
Retro Game Challenge. That's a really cool game. Like a good mix of it's not exactly mini games, but they are smaller games. It also has a bunch of EGM editors as part of like the review people in the video game, like in the diegetic video game magazine that's there. So you get to see like Dan Shu from EGM talking about one of these tiny little mini games that's in the game, and then you go play it and you do these little challenges. It's so cool how they have really like captured an era of video games through that. So that was pretty neat. And let me give you one last one here. How about Pokemon Conquest? That's a really cool one. I've talked about that on the show before, but that's like a Pokemon turn-based strategy game. It's kind of like a Pokemon and Fire Emblem come together, but it's got some cool ideas in it as well. It's too big. It's too big of a video game. But if you just play like the first, do what?
Like lengthwise, it's a very long game.
Yeah, because it's like a game that you play and you beat a campaign, and it goes, okay, well, do you want to play all these other campaigns? And you go, oh, I think the one campaign was fine. But still, if you just play the one campaign, I think you'll have a pretty good time with it. And it's another cool way. Like you're playing Pokopia right now, which is like, oh, it's cool that I'm playing with Pokemon in this different way. And Pokemon Conquest has a lot of those similar ideas to them.
Hell yeah.
So let's try to make the 3DS one a little faster here. Number 1 and number 2 are Fire Emblem Awakening and Fire Emblem Shadows of Valentia. You are very familiar with me telling you about those video games. If I made this list again, Valentia would be number 1 with a bullet, but Awakening at the time was still on my list here. SteamWorld Heist was my number 3. You've played that on other systems, so no need to play that. My number 4 is A Link Between Worlds, which you have 100% played.
You goddamn right I have. That's one of the best Zelda games ever.
And then number 5 was X and Y, and you played X and Y as well. So
those were some of my favorite. When I did that run, X and Y were like, I had so much fun playing X and Y.
I mean, X and Y is a really cool game to go into and you go, holy shit, it's actually 3D now.
Yeah.
And it feels new and it feels different. And then you kind of get further into the video game and go, this might not be the best Pokemon, but it's at least stylish, and that means something. Some other games in here that are all right. Bravely Default, but you can play the Switch 2 version now, and it's probably a little bit nicer. You should play that one instead. You're not going to play Dragon Ball Fusions, but again, that game is rad. I talked about that video game at that CC's Pizza, so that's a cool video game. People should check it out. The original Monster Hunter Stories, but you've played that already.
So what I'm going to end up doing is I've got 3 on, where did I play 2 at? I can't remember if I played 2 on PC. I think I played 2 on PC. So I've got 2 and 3 on PC. I'm pretty sure 1 has come that way. I'm just going to buy it on PC and play it there. I bought it on my iPhone or iPad when it got ported.
That's right. Yeah, I wondered how that would have worked.
It was fine, but yeah, man. Like I've had a good amount of those downloaded.
Let me grab a couple more for you that you probably don't have. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Shadow Wars, which sounds like what? Why would I be interested in playing this? It's a turn-based tactics game. It's like a Fire Emblem game it's like an XCOM game more than it is anything else. That game is really cool. It was a launch title for the 3DS. And nobody gave a shit about it, and I thought it was fucking rad. That game rules. And then Pushmo. You should play Pushmo. That is one of my favorite puzzle games of
Pushmo.
all time. It
Let's see
was
if
a
it's in
downloadable
here.
game on the 3DS, but that's the one where you like had your little guy named Malo, and he would shove in blocks or push blocks or pull blocks out, and then you jump on things, and you're trying to get to not necessarily the top of a shape, but you're trying to get to the goal that is somewhere in the shape, and you have to continue pushing things and pulling things. And it was a really cool puzzle game, and it's also got an ability to build puzzles yourself in it. So it's a game that you could spend forever on. In fact, I think I have some of my old QR codes
Oh,
of
nice.
levels that I made. That I don't know how you do that on the Thor. I don't think the Thor has a camera on it, does it?
It doesn't have a camera, but it does have a way to do like NFC. I think for like I can still do amiibo stuff with it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think Street Pass works on it too.
Hmm. I wonder. Yeah, I think most of the other stuff that I have here. Well, I mean, Picross 3D Round Two. So if your wife is done with Picross 3D, they made a second one, and
All
it's
right.
just as fucking rad. So those are some really good video games
All right.
For the DS and 3DS that you should probably check out.
I might skip over talking about Esoteric Ebonite and go a little bit deeper with you on the Thor.
Sure.
So you haven't had your hands on this thing yet. To put it out there for everybody, like I do have some handheld devices. The Switch 2 is probably like the most reliable one that I have. Is just like an ecosystem that I can go to and have a very good grab and go. Like the docking, all that. I think it's like one of the best designed handhelds. I have an ROG Ally X, not the Xbox version that just came out, but the one that was based off of. And that's been awesome. Like I've been using that to basically play my PC games, but it's very low battery life and mileage does vary. Like it's a Windows 11 handheld, so it requires a lot of finesse. I am primarily playing on PC, but as I was mentioning, I have some gaps in my resume when it comes to the dual screen Nintendo devices. I had all the other Nintendo consoles though, so I've always had those growing up. And this year especially, we've been talking a lot more about preservation, and I have a Pocket up here, an Analog Pocket, that I think is a fantastic piece of hardware. It can play physical media. It's got a beautiful screen. It's got a rich library of emulation on it as well. It is probably like one of the coolest pieces of hardware I have on my shelf. But
And it plays your old shit too. Like yes, you can
yes,
emulate with it, and that is how a lot of people are using it, including me. But if you want to talk about like preservation machines, a thing that is actually playing your old cartridges and has those capabilities is really cool. And that's not
yes,
something you're going to get out of the Thor.
no,
I don't think you need that.
no,
You can certainly put all those ROMs on your Thor and have a great time, and probably play them in maybe an even better environment than your analog pocket. But from a nostalgia perspective, from a I'm playing my old video games on this nice crisp screen,
yep,
and it feels the same way it does when I played my old Game Boy because it's in the same uh, form factor. It's really hard to beat an analog pocket in that way. But I think the Thor has some other things going for it that make it a very exciting option as well.
100%. And the Playdate, of course. So I've got a bunch of those. I have a PS Portal. I've got a really nice grip from my phone. Like I've got a lot of mobile stuff. But back when I wasn't working from home and I was going out, I had a backpack that literally went with me everywhere. And I had my essential everyday carries in it. And it was like, I love that concept of devices that are on you daily that let you do things that you want to do. And I think at one point in time when I met you, like you kind of always had a DS on you or some version of a handheld. Like you would just casually have one to show something. And I thought that was a really cool thing. Chase, I think I can eliminate most of the devices on my wall. And I can tell you right now that the Thor is without a doubt one of the coolest everyday carry devices I've ever touched. The hardware is exceptional. It has two OLED screens, very similar to what you have on the Pocket. One giant one at the top, and then you have a smaller square profile one on the bottom. It's got two inset thumbsticks. It's got shoulder buttons, triggers. It's got your face buttons, back button select. It's got a home button and then a secondary button there. It's running Android. It has a really powerful Snapdragon processor in it. I got the max version of this. It has a terabyte internal storage. It's got 16 gigs of RAM in it, and then it has a SD card slot, and I've put in I had an old 1 terabyte SD. So I've got 2 terabytes of storage on this.
And which version specifically did you get? Because I know some of the specs change based on which one you get.
I got the Max.
Okay.
I got the Max because I had been researching this thing for a while before I pulled the trigger on it. And one of the things I wasn't aware of is Android emulation actually has some very competent, very capable, and very kick-ass ways to play your Steam library natively, not streaming, on the device. So I wanted to get the memory and I wanted to get the bigger storage because there's a reality where like I wouldn't mind getting rid of my ROG. Like I really wouldn't. Like if I got rid of that and I could satisfy that itch with this, which I absolutely think I can, this is much better battery life. It's easier to pack. I can have it in my pocket, literally. It's just a better device in all facets there.
Yeah. And now, if you aren't going to be playing Steam games on this thing, you could, and just using it as more of like an emulation machine, I think you could absolutely go for one of the lower ones for sure. I still might not go for the base model, but I
wouldn't do the base.
The Pro, I guess, is like
Vinny got the 3rd SKU, I think. He got the 2nd or 3rd SKU, and he's been having a great time with it. I don't think that you need to get the Max unless like you are really saying to yourself, like, maybe I could just load this fucker up and do a bunch of stuff with it. But it's up to you there. There's 4 SKUs, and then there's 4 different colors. There's a black, there's kind of that Nintendo gray, there's like a pearl white color, and then they have an atomic purple. But the front, when you open this thing up, it's just 2 glass panels, and they didn't make they couldn't make the glass transparent like the rest of the shell, so it's almost like a mauve or a magenta. It's pretty ugly, but I would have went with that in a heartbeat. They call it rainbow, is the Nintendo gray one, so it's like gray with the yellow, blue, green, and red buttons on the front of it. It's got 2
the SKUs are light, base, pro, and max.
There is a chipset change, I know, as far as memory goes too. I don't know if the SKU 3 and SKU 4 have the same chipset.
I think the light is the only one with a different chipset.
Yeah, I think that second one is probably great for you if you're gonna pull the trigger on one of these. So here's the cool thing. I've got a shit ton of stuff on this. One of the things that I've blown my mind with is I've been going into my 3DS library, and there's a fucking amazing community of people working on the emulation front with that. And I have patched in Fire Emblem Awakening, Super Mario 3D Land, every Zelda game on the 3DS, 4K textures, 60 FPS. Like, it's literally just dropping in the folder. When you see the cutscenes and artwork happening in Fire Emblem Awakening with this thing, dude, it looks almost on par with Three Houses now. Like, it's fucking crazy what they've done with this, and all these emulators, the quality of life to do it.
I actually think the backgrounds in Awakening are probably nicer than the ones in Three Houses. Well, Three Houses had some really ugly backgrounds, but I understand what you mean. I get what you mean.
The fidelity of these, yes, I think, are on par. The art, you can argue, is subjective. Like, you would pick what you want there. But, dude, I'm playing. I also got Metroid Samus Returns, and having that with the OLED screen, the 60 frames a second, the complete 4K overhaul of it, that has been melting my brain as well. Like, because I love Dread, and this has just been fucking awesome. But
it was an okay game.
I think it's really
my hope, though, is that that with a system like this, and with a renewed interest or more interest in this era of gaming, that because the thing that I always see because I do a lot of ROM stuff and a lot of ROM hack stuff we've talked about on the show before, and you'll see a decent amount of ROM hack stuff happening on like the Game Boy times and Game Boy and Game Boy Color, and then you'll find a ton on the GBA because it just like hit at the right time, or emulation was getting good at the right time, and it mostly because of the Pokemon games. The Pokemon games are the ones that everybody loves on the GBA, and that led to a lot of experimentation and a lot of people trying out things and making mods and making ROM hacks for that era of systems. And it's been more difficult, not impossible. There's definitely been people out there who have made mods and ROM hacks and things for the DS and even the 3DS, but there's less of that because those are harder things to program for as, you know, a solo ROM hacking dev.
Yeah,
And there's also little fanfare that, you know, most people are having the emulation devices that they have. They can play all the GBA games they want, so they go for that because it's the easy one. It's got the built-in audience for that, and it's got enough tutorials and tools to make those things easy. And there just aren't as many of those around for the DS and 3DS. But if a device like this is getting more renewed interest for these systems, and Nintendo is maybe you know, not litigious, but maybe a little less litigious, that
sure.
because these are a couple generations out now of systems, maybe this does allow more people to go in and go, "Ooh, what if I tinker around with this Pokemon game or this Fire Emblem game, or try out a thing here? What if I added a couple things? What if I made my own games? You have some homebrew kind of stuff going on for DS and 3DS." That is that is what excites me about a system like this, is that it potentially opens the door to even more people trying things.
And that's happening. Like there's already an overhaul for Mario Kart 7, adds in a shit ton of new characters, all like brand new course maps that people have designed for you to play on there. Like I'm already seeing those. There's I've seen some really cool like tweaks and hacks for Ruby and Sapphire. That's been awesome. So it's there. Like in the
Well, also just the quality of the emulation too. Like even when the
absolutely
Thor came out, 3DS emulation was not perfect.
correct.
You kind of had to pick and choose. You know, a lot of the bigger games worked well because people had done that work, but for smaller 3DS games, maybe they hadn't. You know, I wonder if how well something like Monster Tail runs on that. I mean, that's a DS game, so it probably works a little better. But there's some games that probably need a little bit more custom you know,
Well, check.
finessing to make work. But again, with the popularity of a system like this and more people trying it and more people wanting that, you're going to get more people going, okay, it's important enough that we do the work to make these games run on a system like this because more people want it and I want it.
Yeah,
So
like that's the crazy thing, man, is like I've ran into some stuff where I'm like, why is this running this way? So I like do a quick Google search, and like even on the Thor Reddit, they're like, oh hey, I was playing that game. Here's the issue. You need to download this turnip GPU, and like all the emulators have a chance to just like, hey, do you want to download a different? Because it's a Vulkan GPU on this thing. It's like how it's doing it, not OpenGL, which is like kind of a golden standard for a lot of emulation I was reading on. But this turnip fork, it's literally just in the actual like emulator that you're using. You just hit a button, loads it in. People are like this. Yeah, this is all you need. The other cool thing about this, man, it. So I've got a few things going with it. I've got Mugenics on this. I've got Hades 2. I'm playing my actual Steam games with Steam saves on it, and that works great. Like literally runs them flawlessly. I've done PC streaming via like NVIDIA GeForce Now. So like I've played Cyberpunk on this just based off of the stream there with it. The one that I'm not going to talk about it tonight, but the mini shoot game that just came out is a dream on this thing. It runs really, really well. But this is also capable of playing like really kick-ass Android games from the Play Store. So I have their Play Pass, which is like Apple Arcade. I had that when I had an Android phone. Like I can just download those games and have that library here. But this is also, when I say a daily carry, you can have like, maybe I just want to move like a social media app to this. I'm not saying I would, but I can, like, I have Discord on this. And so I can have Discord on the bottom screen, and I can actually just be streaming to this channel that we're recording from. And I could be playing this game on Discord that way with you and just showing you from the device.
yeah.
I could have threes on the bottom screen while watching a dumb YouTube show at the top screen. Like, it is so fucking cool how capable this game is. It plays all the shit that the Pocket does. Pocket obviously does cartridges, but you have this very rich and vibrant DS, Wii U, especially because now I have the bottom screen whenever I'm playing a Wii U game. It's just a gamepad. So I have that screen on the bottom screen, and I get to do it that way here, which is awesome. But it's blowing. It is like, I had a I was extremely excited for this thing. I was championing at the bit to get it. And when I got it, it has exceeded my expectations every step of the way. Like, I cannot recommend it enough. It is so
Do
fucking good.
do you have this thing near you? I
Yeah.
want to. Yeah. Can I see like? Okay. So for people who are listening on the audio, Bobby's a giant man.
Yep.
He's made of bricks or whatever. So that is about the size of a 3DS, like a little thicker,
A little bit thicker.
but yeah, like in terms of like height and length, about the same, right? But the
Yeah.
screens are bigger
Yep.
because the top screen is basically just full screen, right? The
Yeah.
top
It's like a
part
six
is
and a
just full
half
screen,
inch, I think.
and
Six
then
and a half.
the second screen is a little bit smaller because it has to fit in the controls and things around it.
Yeah.
But like that's a pretty good size for the screen that I would be looking for, um, because a lot of these kinds of systems, even like playing stuff on my analog pocket, sometimes like, man, this is a really tiny screen.
This is how
I
it
would,
normally looks for me, by the way.
yeah. It's like I would really like a little bit more screen real estate than the Pocket gives me when I'm trying to play, Genesis games or something. Um, so Bobby's just showing off everything now.
This is the official Nintendo Switch stylus. Highly recommend getting it. It's like a soft, cushiony tip,
Yeah.
and it works great on that glass screen. Highly recommend this thing.
Right. Yeah. You can't use your DS or 3DS styli on that because it's a different kind of touchscrine.
And the grip I
For
got,
on the
it
Thor.
just holds it. It just slides in the
Yeah,
back of my grip, which makes it super convenient.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think the size is about what I'm looking for, like a 3DS but bigger screen sounds kind of nice. One of the things that really excited me, it's a weird story, but on the Wii U, Golden Sun for the Game Boy
Sure.
Advance came to that as a Wii shop or Wii channel. I forgot what they called it back then. Virtual console. There you go. They made a virtual console version of that, so like I could play Golden Sun on a big TV, which doesn't necessarily scale up super nice, but it at least, on the GBA, sometimes that game would look a little too small and a little too hard to read. So having something about that size is I think kind of perfect if I would ever go back and play Golden Sun these days. I guess I could hook my Pocket up to my TV and play play Golden Sun that way. But
I think that there's been a ton of people. So the community is really big into playing Switch games on it, and I don't have a desire to do that for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, there's something like that feels a little too new. That does feel like you're hey, don't get me wrong. I live a pirate's life a lot of time, but there is something about trying to get games that are basically brand new or like basically out there and are still trying to be sold, or still in print in that way. It feels a little bit weird to do that, but when it comes to, I don't know, like PS1 games, there's like I guess Sony is putting those out on like some kind of PSN store, but like they're not putting them out in the way that I would want them to in the form factor I need. So like, it's a little bit of a different prospect than when you're just saying, I'm going to play Donkey Kong Bonanza on this. And you're like, whoa, hey, hang on.
I don't think you could play that one, but I think that you could play, like, you can play Tears of the Kingdom on it. Like, there's people who are doing that right now. Like, I have the Wii U version of Breath of the Wild on mine, but I have, like, as I mentioned, I have the Switch 2 right over here. I think when I do travel now, like, this is always going to be with me 100%, but I'll bring my Switch 2. Like those, if I have my Switch 2 and I have this with me, I'm fucking great, man. Like I am so good and covered. Like I'll have my MacBook Air, I'll have these two things, and I'll be fucking great.
Well, and the big question for people these days, because the Thor is not cheap. It's not the most expensive one of these you can get. There's a dual screen. I can't remember who makes it, but there's another dual screen thing out there.
Ambernick has one. There's like 3
I think
or 4
that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, the Ambernick one is like $1 billion. It's like $500 or something for that thing. It starts at 500, which is nuts. That's a nuts price. But also the AYN Thor is not a cheap thing either. You're going to spend what, like $250 to $300 on this.
I think the entry, when I ordered mine, and I think you mentioned the prices have gone up with the ongoing memory shortages, but when I ordered it, it was even on sale, like $50 off. It was like $249 for the starting point. I think the max was close to 500, if I'm not mistaken, when I got it.
Let me type in this again and see what they're selling. So the light is $249, the base is $319, the Pro is $399, and the max is $489.
Yeah.
So like this is not a cheap system. But I would also say that if you are interested, if you don't necessarily care about the DS and 3DS games, which some people won't,
Yeah.
it's not a huge deal. They think they can skip those systems. There's a ton of other much cheaper options available to you. These things can get a whole lot cheaper when they can skip building a whole other screen
I
into into the device.
I think we're gonna do
Um,
a deep dive on some of these emulators in a future month for sure. Like I think
yeah,
that's gotten to be a very interesting space for preservation and gaming. And I personally feel, especially after having this thing, that is one of the more exciting spaces to watch right now of like hardware innovation, like what people are capable of doing with like, because this is literally just a mobile phone if you think about it. It's an Android phone.
yeah.
So
And they've certainly come a long way. Like I bought a Retroid Pocket. I can't remember what it was called, or what number it was, but I bought a Retroid Pocket like a decade ago, and honestly, playing it sucked. It felt
mhm.
bad. Trying to do all the software bullshit was not fun. I just was not having a good time with that device at all,
Yep.
and ended up like putting it in a box, and I've never thought about it again.
Sure.
That is, I'm sure COVID had a lot to do with it, but it
Naturally.
changes the way people, it changes the demands of these kinds of systems, what people want out of them, and then what the manufacturers are able to make, and the strides they've made as well when it comes to making these systems. So they've done a lot better. They've improved a lot when it comes to both the feel of the console, like the quality of the plastic that they're using and glass and things like that, but also just the quality of the software seems like it's getting much better, and as well the support that people are giving it when it comes to emulators and cores and things like that. So this is becoming a space that is a lot more interesting, and I think, if you, but also my point was that if you don't need that dual screen experience, there are plenty of other things out there where you can go and get some really nice feeling, really good software Android style stuff that does basically everything that Thor does, but doesn't have the two
They
screens, so
have
you
the
can't play some of
Odin,
those
I
games.
think is what they have three. They have three products. I think the Odin is, if you don't want a dual screen, you don't need a dual screen, you don't care about it, I would probably tell you to grab the Odin. It looks, if you can pull that up, I think that's the one that looks like a PSP or a Vita, if I remember. It kind of has that form factor and shell.
Yeah, yeah, like the AYN Odin 3
That
is. I mean, these aren't necessarily super cheap either. 339 for the base model,
oh,
439 for the Pro, 489 for the Max, and they have an Ultra that is sold out right now for 500 plus dollars. Um, but yes, like they also have older versions. They have like the Odin 2 Portal, they call it, which yes, they are that kind of candy bar style,
yeah.
which is closer to what like a PSP or even like a really thin Steam Deck would look like,
I
and
can't wait for you
that's
to see it.
could be something that you're really looking for if you're looking for those kinds of things. But if you are wanting that more specific experience of, hey, DS and 3DS is not something that's as easily accessible. Although I will point out, your DS and 3DS are very hackable these days. So you
There's
can
a
just play on the
bunch of
original
that.
hardware if you wanted to do that. I do have a hacked 3DS and a hacked DS, and gotta say, well, not a hacked DS, like the cartridge. I think you can just slot in, and it's got stuff in it. But they're pretty easy ways to do that, and you can certainly play those. And hey, those that's Nintendo made hardware. It feels really good
Yeah.
for sure. But that's all they can really play. You're not going to go back and play all the other. You're not going to play PlayStation games on your 3DS, and you can do that on the Thor. And that is certainly a very cool thing to be able to have all of that in one convenient device.
Can't wait for you to see it. Two quick things before we get to Skies of Arcadia. Um, if you are interested in this, go research it. There's a bunch of videos out there. I think Joey's Retro Handhelds has like the best onboarding video for it. But if you are going to get one, like buyer beware. They're doing these in batch orders and they're selling out pretty quick. I think they're on like 3 or 4 at this point in time. I
This is
was
batch
on.
4 they're selling for right now. Yeah.
Okay, so you're if you order it today, you're probably, I would plan a month to 2 months before you're playing this thing. Just a heads up to anybody.
Sure, and also, we're in the we're in the time of things getting more expensive, not less, as they are out there. Memory shortages
That's
and
why I would say grab it
uh,
now if you're going to get one.
Yeah, yeah. I get that, and there is a part of me that's like I should jump on this now, but there's another part of me that really wants to follow your experience with this for a little while longer. And who
Yeah.
knows, maybe by the time I'm willing to pull the trigger, they'll have made a Thor 2,
Yeah.
and maybe I jump in on the first batch of that. Who knows?
If
But
you
yeah, it seems like an incredibly cool system. It's getting a lot of buzz right now, and for me, just the amount of revitalization there's been in the emulation and ROM hacking scene for these devices and the older Nintendo consoles that they're emulating is exciting to me. I like seeing that kind of stuff. I
agreed.
very much cannot wait to see that Fire Emblem upres that you
I
were
can't
talking
wait to
about
show it to you.
for
I think we're gonna get some breakfast this weekend, and I will throw this out there to you. If and when you pull the trigger, please just give me an SD card in advance. I will have that ready to go. So when you get this thing, you pop it in, it is set up, and you can just be off to the races. Like I will
yeah.
have
I mean, I basically did the same thing for you with the
100%.
Pocket, if I remember correctly.
I would like to return that favor. I have debt that I want to repay.
You have debt
Chase,
because you bought a $500 console.
I know, no kidding. Well, certainly you're not, you're obviously not a fan of older games, and you're certainly not a fan of probably playing older games on, emulations or anything like that. But
Yeah, certainly.
certainly not. This new thing that you've been playing, though, I've never heard of this. Skies of Arcadia Legends or something like that.
Yeah, I guess I've mentioned this a couple of different times.
Yeah.
Maybe not on the actual podcast though, because we had that
Yeah,
week off.
we've
But
talked-
I mean, I know we talked about it from like when it showed up on the wheel. But yeah, it showed up on the wheel. I'm playing Skies of Arcadia Legends, which originally was on the Dreamcast. The Legends is the GameCube version, the GameCube port that came out, and I've been playing this on my laptop through OpenEMU on my MacBook. But I've been like pushing it to the television, so I'm still playing it on a TV. I'm playing it with my Switch Pro controller, so it
cool.
feels like I'm playing a video game. Like it's I'm not playing this with a keyboard and mouse, which I can't imagine that would feel very good at all. Or rather, just a keyboard. You wouldn't be able to do the mouse stuff with it. But Skies of Arcadia, it's just a classic RPG, and it's one that's been really well regarded for a long time, being that it was on the Dreamcast and even the GameCube for a lesser extent, but it just didn't get a lot of play. People just kind of missed it. The Dreamcast came and went relatively quickly, and while the people who liked it a lot, they most of the stuff eventually showed up somewhere else, and Sony just ate their lunch. So,
Sure.
but even when Legends came out for the GameCube, I know we went over it for our deep dive when we looked through that magazine, and it was the game of the month that
That's
month.
right.
For,
it was.
Yeah, so like people liked it, and this was for
That's
the Legends
right.
version. That was for the port. So it was still very well regarded, but it's one that still just missed a lot of people. It's one I've always been excited about. There was actually an indie game that came out, was it last year or a couple of years ago, that looked like a cell shaded Skies of Arcadia, and it sounded really cool. And then it came out, and people went, "This is not it."
Yes,
this
that's
isn't it
true.
at all.
That sounds like something we said.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called, but I remember reading the reviews and them going, "You know what they're going for," and they don't hit it. Maybe who knows? Maybe they've fixed that game by this time. Not sure. But I'll tell you that Skies of Arcadia is cool as hell. Like
That's awesome.
It is just that classic JRPG. You are a sky pirate, so you automatically from the very beginning of the game get an airship that's flying around, and you're traveling to different islands in the sky islands. You have like a mysterious magical girl who's from a faraway land who knows some shit about how the world might end, and you're trying to help her on her quest to do that. You're a bright, spunky kid whose father was a sky pirate, and you're kind of helping him, but you end up going on your own journey. You've got a spunky little girl who's your childhood friend who throws a boomerang, and she's really cool. And it's just like a really charming video game. I think the writing's really nice, and you just like are going on this adventure. Like the world map is is interesting in that you're flying through the air, so you have like the controls to go higher and lower, and it feels 3D in that way, and you're moving around to get to these different islands. But once you get to these islands, now you get to just these little towns, and it's really nice to have these little towns on these individual little islands. You don't feel it makes the world feel big in that you're going on these big travels to go to these different islands and go to these different places. But when you get to one of these islands, the islands are all pretty compact and small.
Sure.
So it's really easy to go, oh, I'm just going to go to these 4 houses, talk to these people, and get the information that I need. One of the problems that I seem to run into a lot with JRPGs or RPGs of almost any kind is that I don't like talking to just normal ass NPCs because most of them have
with them.
Yeah, most of them have nothing important to say.
Sure.
And those are really important sometimes in like really old ones. Like if you're trying to play like a classic Final Fantasy game, you should probably talk to everybody in the town. You'll actually learn about what the hell you're supposed to do is. But in a lot of modern ones, it's just like, hey, this guy's going to tell you a little flavor stuff. It doesn't really matter. You can mostly skip it. Just go to the one with the exclamation point over their head, or go to the one at the important house, or go to the castle. That's where you're going to find the stuff that you need. But this game, because the villages and towns that you go to are so compact, it makes it really easy to just go, oh, I'm going to talk to like the 5 people who are here. It's not a big deal. I'll just make that happen, and it adds to the coziness of the world, and all that stuff feels really good.
That's awesome. I actually think I found a copy I'm gonna try and grab of this to check it out at some point in time. But
sure, if you're looking for a physical copy, they are expensive these days. But
yeah, that's what I was just
pretty easy to emulate for sure. I will say the game does feel really slow. Like there are just parts that go, this should not take this much
time.
Like
narratively slow, or like
a little bit narratively slow, but mechanically slow is the more important part. Okay. It is you will walk to a door, you have to get right in the right position to get to the door. You hit the open door button, the door opens, it plays a little cutscene, not a cutscene exactly, but a little scripted event of you walking through the door, and then you're inside now. And if you accidentally hit back, now you're going back through that door, and you have to go back through that little scripted event. Your walk speed just feels really slow. The ship speed going from island to island feels kind of slow. The way you equip things feels like you go through a couple too many menus to do. Just everything kind of feels like this doesn't have to take this long.
Is it a straight port, or is this like a remake? Do they do anything different from the Dreamcast version to the GameCube version?
I believe there are a couple of differences. I don't know what those differences are, but yes, okay. I believe Legends adds maybe a little bit of content here or there in some way. But I'm not an expert on that kind of stuff.
All good.
But yeah, it's really charming. It has a couple of really cool ideas from mechanics. Each of your weapons, you can. It's not. You know how you can like add, like in Final Fantasy, you can add materia to your different weapons, and that can give your weapons little different properties. This game doesn't exactly have that. You're not like slotting new things into your weapons, but you do get this collection of moonstones that the game has. And the moonstones are different colors, red, yellow, purple, green, blue, silver. That might be all of them. And when you select a weapon, when you go, okay, I'm equipping this weapon to this guy, it'll say, okay, what color of moonstone do you want to put into it? And you get to choose whichever one you want. And you can choose multiple of the same ones for the same characters or for different characters. But I believe I haven't really looked into this, but it just is like something I feel when I'm playing the game. I believe that whichever color you choose gives different properties to your weapon in terms of like, it's not saying it does fire damage, but it's like, hey, now that I chose red, I feel like I'm doing more damage to this one type of enemy, but maybe a little less damage to this other type of enemy. Maybe I should switch to blue. Again, I can't confirm that, but it just feels like that's true. But the other reason that you would equip those different colors to your weapons is because the magic system is tied to the different colors of moonstones. So when you have a moonstone equipped to your weapon, you will gain magic experience for that color. And when you get to high enough levels of that color, you will get new spells of that color. And each color has its own set of spells. Like
Got it.
green is much more about healing or poisoning the enemy. Red is like fire damage or upping your attack and defense. Purple is like cold damage, freezing
Mhm.
an enemy, but also doing ice elemental kind of attacks. So each color has specific spells that it deals with, and so you're kind of choosing what spells you want on each character. But the other kind of cool thing is that for each character, you have whatever moonstone equipped to them, and you will get some magic experience for the color that they have equipped. So I've got a party of 3 right now, and I've got one with red, one with
Is that the
blue, one with
cap, by the
green.
way, for your party?
Do what?
Is that the cap size for your party? 3?
I don't know. I think
Okay.
I think you could get to 4.
Okay.
That's a part of the game that's been a little weird. I've had a lot of people join the party, leave the party, rejoin the party, re-leave the
That's been
party,
happening in
and I
Dragon
go,
Quest a
okay,
lot,
what's
too.
my yeah? There's like a little Final Fantasy IV action
Sure.
to it, where it's like, wow, the party is really malleable, and
Yeah.
and people kind of show up and disappear quite a bit for now. And that's been kind of interesting. He's like, oh, I lost the person who has kind of been my healer, or I lost the guy who I was really using as my heavy for that bit. And then a few hours later, he's like, oh, by the way, I'm back now. I can join you for a little bit. And then he goes, you know what? Fuck you, kids. I'm out of here again. And I'm like, damn, I needed you. You were my power guy. But you get their magic experience too, so you can kind of balance and go, oh, well, this one character is pretty close to blue, but also to silver. So I'm going to have my different people equip blue and silver so they can get both of those spells. And you can kind of start tracking that progress as you go and allowing yourself to get spells. It makes grinding more rewarding as well, because you always feel like you're not just getting the experience or the gold, but you have a chance of getting these magic spells that might make something easier as well. It's been really pleasant to go around and
That's awesome.
try out different things in this game and just explore. Like it's a game that I think has enough space that allows you to really explore it, but each of those spaces are still relatively small, so it feels accomplishable, and that's been
fucking
nice.
rad.
Yeah,
That's awesome. I'm gonna throw this out your way. I think next week, because we have another What You've Been Playing next week, and then a deep dive is there. But I think next week, because I've been playing Pokemon, you've seen it. By next week, we'll both have played Monster Hunter Stories. Why don't
I hope.
why don't we shelve the Mon talk for next week? And
Okay.
We'll do a Mon talk next week. I'm glad. I'm thrilled that we talked about the Thor. Obviously, I'm very precious about it right now. But you are one of the people that has. I'm playing this because of you. I have this thing because of you and like your influence on this. So
Yeah,
I
just
am
like an
what
STD.
you've made. I am what you've made me. But you're gonna get to see it this weekend, and maybe you can kind of just give the audience next week like, hey, I held it. Here's what I have to say about it, because we know I like everything. You're the real litmus test here on the Casual Hour if something's good or not. So we'll do that. We'll wrap it up here. I'm glad you got to talk about Skies of Arcadia. I'm glad that it's been a minute since a wheel game got you. And I feel like this one has really hit, like you've brought this game up to me a couple of times, like even offline, about like you're really enjoying it. So that's cool.
I mean, Tactics was on the wheel, but I played it without it showing up on the wheel, I think. So that game
That's
also
fair.
got me, but I left it off, and I would love to go back to Tactics someday, but so too many games to play, as is always the case.
Too many games.
But yeah, you've been playing a lot of Pokopia. We'll probably talk about that next week as well.
Yeah.
I know you are at least through the second area, right? So you're
so right after we ended the stream, I got Lapras, and then I got the kit so I can swim now, and then I got the new Pikachu that they have in this game that's a little bit faded. So I got that, and I'm about to the third area.
Okay, so maybe next week we'll get to hear like a real deep dive into Pokopia, which I can help a little bit with, and then, like you said, hopefully we'll
There's
both.
a timed event going right now. I'll talk about that too with
timed event. Do I have to Fucking play this game now, Bobby.
Well, so what's the Pokemon I'm thinking of? Pink with like the helicopter, green leaves on its head. Looks like Kirby kind of. Hoppip. So Hoppip has shown up. He's the talk of the town. He sets up a shop inside of the Poke Center. And on the Dream Islands, they have cotton spores. If you get the cotton spores, you bring them back to him, and he sells you stuff to make habitats that gets you all his evolution line. And so you have until March 24th to do that event to get that. You wouldn't have to really progress very far in the actual story to do that if you didn't want to, because you're just going to Dream Islands.
But if I start that, there's just going to be another limited time event afterward, and then I'll have to feel like I have to play all of it.
You know what fucking sucks? Well, it's for me, but it's awesome for my wife. The first time she went to a Dream Island, what's the legendary water dog?
Suicune.
Suicune's just fucking hanging out at the Dream Island. It's like, I want to live with you. I'm like, God damn it. So she's got Suicune at her fucking house, just hanging out.
Pretty cool.
I just met the really sleepy Snorlax. It's fucking great. We'll talk more about it next week. Go watch our stream from Monday in the interim though, and that'll get you enough to know like some of the mechanics and shit of what's going on. I think we kind of go through the loop pretty well there, but
yeah. So we'll have a big Pokopia talk, and we'll have a big Monster Hunter talk. So yeah, next week's also going to be a slammed week
mash,
of good stuff,
if you will.
Sure.
A monster mash.
A pocket monster mash.
A pocket monster mash. Hey, is that a pocket monster mash in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? We've been talking about Pokemon. We played it on Monday. Tonight was a deep dive-ish into the Thor and emulation, where it's at. Chase also talked a lot about the cool and very nice Skies of Arcadia Legends on the GameCube. Cool. So you can watch everything on Monday's stream on both YouTube and Twitch. If you're listening to this, go check out our show notes. There's links to those things. If you want to hang out with us, though, we are online in a lot of places, and we do this. This is our 10th year doing the podcast. We are happy that you're here, regardless of when you found us. But we've got deep dives, monthly previews. We've got streams on Mondays. We've got a whole bunch of backlog, quick look stuff you can go look at. Plenty of stuff for Chase and I and a prior co-host that you can check out. But if you just can't get enough of us and you want to know what Chase is doing when he's not being a gamer on the go, he watches a lot of television and he plays a lot of Magic. And he's got things to tell you about both of those. That's
true. And a secret third thing. It's not so secret. I've been talking about it for almost half a year now. But I'm playing. I'm the gamer in a chair because I am playing Star Wars: Knights of the Republic on my YouTube channel, Chase K Plays. Episode 22, I think, came out today. We were on Manon, and then I found something else to do instead of just doing the main story on Manon. So I decided let's do that instead. So I wouldn't say we necessarily made progress this week, but we did have a lot of fun, and that's important.
That's all it is.
But yeah, I'm still enjoying KOTOR. I would like it to end, but it has been really nice to go back and re-experience this game and talk to Jolie Bindo. You gotta love Jolie Bindo.
Who doesn't?
And that's been a lot of fun. So come join me on that. Go play a Star Wars, the name of the series, and hopefully that'll wrap up here in the next few weeks. And then I can get to my next game, which I'm pretty excited about as well.
Ooh.
But as Bobby did mention, I have a couple other things that I do. One of them is a pilot program, a podcast I do with my good friend Pierce Corchain. Pierce and I watch the first episodes of every television show ever made. Our latest episode is on one of my favorite shows of all time, Mission Hill.
Very cool.
Completely underrated show. It's the Skies of Arcadia of television shows. So go check that one out. Pierce had never seen it before, despite me badgering him many times that he should see it. And now I had a way to force him to watch it for quote unquote work. And you know what? He liked it. I'm vindicated. So that was a good time talking about that show. And we've announced that our next show is going to be on The Muppet Show from 1979, awesome. I think. That's very cool. That's a fun one. I just watched the episode and I've written my notes for it. It's also really interesting to see like what counts as the pilot, because there's a number of options of what could count as the pilot based on things that came before the show and also what got broadcast first or what got produced first is a bit of an open question as well. So we have chosen one. We'll talk about it on the podcast, but I think we record that next week, so that'll be exciting as well. Look for that. And then lastly, sure, I'll talk about it since Bobby mentioned it. I do have another YouTube channel, Common Knowledge MTG, where I look at common Magic the Gathering cards and tell you are they good in the Pauper format or not. That's the format where you can only play common cards, which is my favorite way to play Magic these days. And so I made a channel around it. I just look at cards and tell you are they good and tell you what decks they could go in. I have topped 100 episodes of that show at this point.
You're gonna eclipse us at some point in time.
Probably, because I do that 5 days a week instead of us doing this one time a week.
You're a sicko.
So it's getting there. I also do whole set reviews of just the common cards of each set as it comes out. So the latest Magic set has been Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Fun.
No, but the cards were good, so it was good to talk about them, even if I don't really want Ninja Turtles in my Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, turtles are good.
They're not as bad as some of the things that have been in Magic, but yeah.
Including
anyway,
myself.
The cards were good. It was fun to talk about, so
nice.
It was better than Spider-Man.
All right, that's gonna do episode 461. Chase, thank you. Thank you all of you who tune in and support us here at the show and who support Pierce and Chase as pilots. And I'm not going to thank you for supporting Magic because that is a sickness and I do not support sickness.
That's fair.
But we do this with and for you. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. We'll see you all on Monday.